Long before merchants knew his name and sailors spoke of his success, Orin was just a boy who spent his evenings staring at the sea. While other children raced along the shore or chased gulls through the sand, Orin sat quietly at the end of an old wooden dock, watching the horizon. His grandfather often sat beside him, and whenever the sun disappeared beneath the water, he told the same story, the story of the moon pearl. According to legend, somewhere beyond the Black Reef, hidden in waters so deep that sunlight never touched the ocean floor, rested the rarest pearl in existence. But people did not dream of the moon pearl because of its beauty, or even its value. They dreamed of it because whoever found it would uncover the legendary Reef of Tides, a hidden reef said to contain treasures beyond imagination. The discoverer would gain immense wealth, fame across kingdoms, and a place in history that would outlive them. Every great diver knew the story. Every great diver dreamed of finding it. And so did Orin. One evening, after hearing the tale for what felt like the 100th time, he looked at his grandfather and said, "One day, I'll find the moon pearl." His grandfather smiled, then placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Then don't spend your life looking at the horizon," he said. "Spend it sailing toward it." Years later, Orin became one of the most skilled young divers on the coast. At 22, he could dive deeper than most men twice his age. He knew hidden reefs, dangerous currents, forgotten underwater caves, and every spare moment was devoted to the search. Old maps, ancient journals, stories from wandering sailors, anything connected to the moon pearl. Then, one summer morning, everything changed. After a powerful storm, Orin discovered something extraordinary. Hidden beneath a coral shelf lay a bed of rare pearls, hundreds of them, large, perfect, worth a fortune. The discovery transformed his life. Merchants traveled from distant ports. Buyers competed for his pearls. Money flowed faster than he had ever imagined. For the first time in his life, success arrived. And it arrived easily. "I'll return to the search next season," he told himself. It sounded reasonable. After all, the moon pearl had waited for centuries. Surely it could wait one more year. 1 year became 2. At 25, a wealthy merchant offered him a partnership. Together they could build the largest pearl trading company on the coast. The opportunity was too good to ignore. Orin accepted. Again, he told himself, just a few years. The business flourished, ships were purchased, warehouses expanded, trade routes opened. By the age of 31, Orin owned a fleet of vessels and employed dozens of sailors and divers. People admired him, respected him, envied him. And whenever someone mentioned the moon pearl, he would smile and say, "One day." But one day never seemed to arrive. Then, one autumn evening, a young deckhand approached him on the docks. The boy couldn't have been older than 16. His clothes were worn, his hands rough from work, but his eyes were full of ambition. "Captain Orin," he asked, "is it true you searched for the moon pearl?" Orin said, "I did." The boy's eyes widened. "What made you stop?" The question caught him off guard. What made him stop? He opened his mouth, then closed it again, because he didn't know. No storm had stopped him. No injury had stopped him. No failure had stopped him. Somewhere along the way, he had simply stopped going. That night, for the first time in years, Orin couldn't sleep. He walked down to the harbor. The sea looked exactly the same as it had when he was a boy. The same horizon, the same waves, the same mystery. Only the dream felt farther away. The next morning, he made a decision. He would return to the search. No more delays, no more excuses, no more one day. Within weeks, he was sailing toward the Black Reef, back to the old maps, back to forgotten clues, back to the dream he had abandoned. Months passed. The search consumed him once again. For the first time in years, he felt alive. Not because he was making money, not because he was growing his business, but because he was moving towards something that mattered. Then, one morning, while returning to port for supplies, he noticed something unusual. The harbor was crowded. Far more crowded than normal. Ships lined the docks, people filled the streets, church bells rang across the town. Something had happened. As Orin stepped ashore, he heard the news. A diver had found the moon pearl. For a moment, he couldn't move. The discoverer was being celebrated throughout the coast. Songs were already being written. Merchants were gathering. Sailors were telling the story to anyone who would listen. Then Orin heard the diver's name. It was the young deckhand, the boy who had asked him a simple question months earlier. The same boy who had looked at the horizon and chosen to sail toward it. Within a year, the discovery of the reef of tides transformed entire coastal towns. Trade flourished, new routes opened, prosperity spread across the region. The young diver became a legend. His name appeared in books. Maps carried his story. Children grew up hearing about him. And standing among the celebrating crowd, Orin finally understood something. The young diver was not more talented than him. He was not wealthier, not smarter, not more experienced. The difference was much simpler. While Orin had spent years pursuing opportunities, the young diver had spent those same years pursuing a dream. One evening, Orin returned to the old dock where he had once sat beside his grandfather. The sea shimmered beneath the moonlight. The horizon stretched endlessly into the distance, just as it always had. For a long time, he sat in silence, listening to the waves, remembering the promise he made as a boy. Then he smiled, not because he had failed, and not because another diver had succeeded, but because he finally understood the mistake he had made. He had spent years collecting achievements, yet somehow lost sight of the achievement that mattered most. The sea breeze carried the scent of salt through the night air, and as the moonlight danced across the water, Orin whispered softly, "I spent years building a successful life." He looked toward the horizon one last time, then added, "But he spent those years becoming the man he dreamed of being." Most dreams are not destroyed by failure. They are abandoned by distraction, not all at once, but little by little. One opportunity, one comfort, one delay, one promise to start tomorrow. The greatest danger in life is not choosing the wrong path. It is becoming so busy chasing good opportunities that you forget the one thing you truly wanted. Many people spend years achieving things that impress others. Very few spend those years pursuing what matters most to them. Focus is not choosing your dream once. Focus is choosing it again every time life offers you an easier direction. Until our next story, keep your eyes on your horizon, because the life you want is rarely lost in a day. It is lost one distraction at a time.